What's up, people? I thought we'd talk real quick about something that just about everyone who plays paintball uses. That would be paintball pods. On the right here I have a Die Alpha pod, 150 round pod. This is kind of the standard over here in paintball pods. The Gen X Global pod, the cheapest pod you can buy, I believe. 140 round capacity, and maybe not so much. I'll tell you about that later. Yeah, most people use these. They work just fine. But I'm going to tell you why for just a tiny bit more money. I believe there's a 50-cent price difference in these. I would personally go with the Die Alpha pod. So, features of the Alpha pod. Like I said, 150 round capacity. So it is just a hair longer than that Gen X pod. And circumference wise, it's bigger around. That's how they're able to fit 150 pods in there, or 150 paintballs in the pod. Yeah, I just feel like this pod is more durable, and especially when it comes to the lid. So here's one of my old pods. This actually happened to 3 of these pods now. I used this pod one time before the lid broke, and that lid broke because I dropped it on a hardwood floor. They're cheaper, but if my pods are breaking, like, I can't really use this one. I don't trust it to keep my paint in. So all around, I just feel like this lid is certainly more more durable, thicker material. I don't feel like it's gonna break. And like I said, this has happened to 3 of my pods now. The broken lids on the Gen X Global pods. The die pods, in my opinion, it is a little easier to pop open the lid, and it's got a nice strong spring like they should. A little bit easier of a push. You don't have to put so much tension on it, but it does have grooves here that you have to make sure your thumb is in for the pod to open. So if I grabbed it and tried to open it over here, I wouldn't be able to open it. Your thumb has to be in that groove. It's all about preference on how you open your pod. Really, there's only 2 ways. It's either one of these that has a tab like that, or you're using a button opening one like the lock lids or the press flick pods from Virtue. For me, it's the durability and the capacity on these. So this Gen X Global pod holds roughly 130 paintballs, and they marketed it at 140, but I've packed it as full as I can, counted all those balls, and it's about 130. Now this die pod actually does hold 150. So for most people, you carry all these versus these, you're getting an extra 100 to 200 paintballs in your pack. I play a lot of scenario ball, and that makes a difference, that you don't have to step off the field and, you know, fill your paint as often. Or you could even run 1 less pod and have the same amount of paint. So for the durability factor alone and the capacity, these are 50 cents more. I'm going with these. Another similar pod is the Virtue Base pod, also 150 rounds. I personally don't own any of those and haven't used them, but I've had nothing but good things to say about Virtue, their customer service. They will fix anything that has a problem. I will gladly support Virtue and tell you that those base pods are going to be great as well. I think those have a $3 price tag instead of the $2.50. Above these pods, you're looking at those button press pods like the Press Flick. HK Army now has a pod like that. The lock lids. For me, I don't get enough of an improvement over something like this by going to that, and those are considerably more expensive. So this is $2.50. A Press Flick pod is $6.50, 2.5 times as much or so. That makes a big difference when you're outfitting all your pods. Yes, you can get up to 165 round capacity, and if you want that capacity, you gotta go with the more expensive pods. Personally, I just say, you know, you don't necessarily need to go up to those super expensive ones. I would skip over these Gen X Global pods altogether. Get something like the Die Alpha or the Virtue Base pod. So those are my picks. If you're in the market for new pods, or you're new to the game and you're looking for your first pods, Die Alpha pods are very, very good.